Hey everybody, welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Great to have you on the show. Let's talk universe mode and let's talk money in the bank. Today we're going to look at all the different ways that you can set up your universe mode and how to cash in that briefcase. We're going to take a look at both the standard classic version of cashing in money in the bank, and we're also going to look at the superstar mode and cashing in money in the bank and all the different ways that you can basically do it in universe mode so that you can optimize the cash in the way you want to in your universe. We know that when we're setting up our shows, we can designate our money in the bank briefcase holders if we want to. We could have men's titles for Money in the Bank on both shows, multiple shows, the women's titles, whatever way you want to do it, right? One thing I will note off the bat, when testing out Money in the Bank, one way that I've seen a lot of crashes happening is when I have downloaded community creations for Money in the Bank. Downloading and trying to upload the briefcases in there typically crashed my game like all the time. It was ridiculous. So be wary of that if you're trying to use custom community creation Money in the Bank briefcases. Putting them in universe mode may or may not work all the time. Now we know of the standard way, right? We know that if we just jumped into universe and someone has the Money in the Bank briefcase, we could just announce a cash in. Announcing a cash in is that they're going to be slated for the main event of that night and they're going to challenge for the title. And if we don't change any settings at all in the options menu and you have your Money in the Bank briefcase holders, maybe you want to sim a lot of dates too, like Matt. I don't always want to play week after week after week, but the danger is you might lose that cash in, right? If you don't touch the settings at all, you might end up not having a Money in the Bank briefcase holder. You got a new champion. The AI is taking over, right? The AI is cashing in left, right, and center. They're cashing in mid-match, before the match, post-match. The game's crashing the other half of the time. So here's what we want to do. You can just set it up as normal and have the AI cash in and not touch anything. But if you really want to control things, let's turn off all of those settings. Head over to options, scroll down, find your AI announce cash in, mid-match, and post-match cash ins, and turn these all the way to 0. And now the AI is not going to cash in at all. You are in control of all of it. And remember, for the cash-ins to work properly, can it happen in a tag match, a triple threat, a Hell in a Cell? No, it can't. It can happen in any of the very fun ways you would want the cash-ins to happen. Standard one-on-one matches is when you can have a cash-in occur. And this can happen to your champion in a title match or a non-title match, but they have to be in a one-on-one match. One of the first ways a standard cash-in can happen when you are in control is when the match starts, pause, and look for cash-in. Because you're in full control and this is a standard one-on-one match with the champion Roman Reigns, the tribal chief himself, you can select cash-in. The cash-in will occur anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. That superstar will head down to the ring. And now you've got yourself a lovely triple threat match. So regular cash-ins, one-on-one matches with your champion, title or non-title match, it's okay. And with those settings turned all the way to 0, you're in control of the cash-in. You can do that mid-match cash-in if you like. Now we want to do a post-match cash-in here. As soon as the match is over, the bell rings, you need to hit that A button on your Xbox or the X button on PlayStation. I don't have the button prompt set up. I turn those prompts off because I don't like having in the intros or in the entrances for the breakout HUD to show up all the time. So I turned all of that off. So you won't be prompted in that regard. So press the button a bunch of times. That's what I just sit there and I just smash it. I just smash the A button and that will trigger the post-match cash-in. Title match cash-ins, the exact same way. But a fun thing to do in your universe to give it a little bit more flavor and flair, I'll change up the controller assignments. So I want Ricochet in this case to become WWE Universal Champion. I switch up the controller assignments. Ricochet wins the title. You have a brand new champion right there in the moment, and then bang, I initiate the cash in and I got Rey Mysterio coming out and cashing in on the brand new champion. So you got multiple title changes happening all in one spot. It gives it a little bit more edge when you're trying to play through and having those creative storylines for yourself. Now the other way you can do it in just the classic mode is you can set up a multi-man match for the briefcase for who is going to become Mr. Money in the Bank. And I love doing this too because we can do it on any show we want and constantly change up who's going to hold the briefcase. Fun one I did here was that I created a custom match where I had a 3-way dance, which is an elimination triple threat match. I like doing elimination matches. There's a little bit more drama involved. But set up your match as you normally would, and when the championship prompt comes up, we're gonna select for Money in the Bank. Then we're simply gonna select the Money in the Bank we wanna use for this match. This is pulling from the core menu in for your Money in the Bank management. So even if it has a different title that's showing up, like I have, for example, the WWE Championship from Attitude Era, it doesn't matter because it's just going to default to have the Money in the Bank holder on that briefcase, and it just goes into your universe mode. So it's all good. So now we've got a really cool triple threat match, elimination rules for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Different way to be able to change things up in your shows week to week. Once again, we can do this on the women's side, which is a lot of fun. And in this example, you can set up a regular ladder match. So I did a fatal 4-way ladder match for the women's championship, and this is for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And because it's a ladder match, we end up with the women's Money in the Bank briefcase suspended above on Raw for that Money in the Bank. Now let's switch over and take a look at Superstar Mode, the new feature for Universe Mode this year in 2K22. Superstar Mode allows you to focus on one superstar on the roster and play them week to week. You're focusing in on just their matches. You can't simulate their matches though, so heads up with that if you haven't touched it yet. And if you kind of back out of it or try to quit, you're still stuck in there. So you've got to play these matches with your superstar. There's a couple of cool things in the different menus when you want to kind of take your superstar down a certain path, whether you want to have them set up tag teams or rivalry matches or fight for titles or challenge for Money in the Bank. Also, if you're trying to get achievements, trophies, it's a good way to get them too, because there are some locked to Superstar Mode, making sure that you are doing several weeks with your selected superstar. Now what I did here was I selected Alexa Bliss as my superstar I'm going to focus on, but I preset it so that Alexa Bliss was my Money in the Bank holder to see what would happen. And Triple H comes out and says, Alexa Bliss currently holds the Money in the Bank. Her future looks bright since she has an anytime contract she can cash in for a shot at the Raw Women's Championship. When and how she cashes, it'll be up to you now. Thank you, Triple H. The game of games. So to control Money in the Bank with Alexa Bliss in this case, we head over to options and you have the curation menu. A couple of things to know with the curation menu too is that you can change the curation menu appearance, meaning when you want to be able to change up what your superstar is going to do week to week or month to month, you can select how often you want that to pop up. So if you want it every 4 weeks, 3 weeks to be able to select something, you can. And here you have the different options. If I want Bliss to start a rivalry, create a match, championship, and so on, we can do it here. But we have the option, because she's Money in the Bank holder, we can select, I want to cash in Money in the Bank. Triple H comes out and he says a custom match for Alexa Bliss has been created for the show. And as we go through the week on Raw, we have our championship match on Raw, Bliss versus Becky Lynch. Remember too, some superstars in the game have custom Money in the Bank entrances too, so you might get lucky and see that. You can also check out all of their entrances in the creation menu. So if you want to see what their Money in the Bank walkout will look like, some have some cool entrances for Money in the Bank. What I like here is that because this is a announced cash in, you get Bliss showing off that she is going to cash in Money in the Bank at the beginning of the match. The downside for Superstar Mode and Money in the Bank is this is the only way for you to be able to cash it in. You have to announce it, unless there's some other way and you guys can tell me in the comments. But I've only been able to do this way because otherwise you're just following your superstar week to week. And obviously the last way you can do this is a regular Money in the Bank pay-per-view premium live event with WWE. But make sure you go into the match table as well and adjust things the way you want to have main event for the ladder matches, or if you want them to occur 3 to 4 times or 1 time. Customize all of those settings for yourself. And if you enjoy this episode, check out this one right here covering more how-tos in WWE 2K22. See you on the next episode.